Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome to Parry Talks. My intro has been done for me. Jokes aside, we're back again, back on the weekly podcast grind. We've also got, we had a couple of DJs in, but we're going back to the podcast roots. I say that every week. We're back with probably, and I say this all the time as well, one of my favourite artists now. They're big on the vapes, as you can tell. If you're watching, everyone puts them down. Okay. Who isn't though at the moment? Vape sponsorship would be hard. But Planet Vegeta, they've been on my radar for ages, and then luckily enough, fall into this work, and then I get to work very closely with the boys as well. So super grateful to have them on. We got JAZZ, Look Good, SVNO. Welcome to Parry Talks.
Hey,
Planet Vegeta.
We're Planet Vegeta.
It's an honour, brother.
We are tucked in very comfortably this morning. It's a bit wet, so I thought let's cuddle up. Has to be. EP, it's finally out. I know you've been sitting on it for a little while. Is it weird releasing music, that you have been sitting on for a long time, or in the vault, or was the goal initially anyway for it to be timeless, so it doesn't really matter?
Alright, to be honest, we were supposed to release this 2020 or early 2020. We made the EP pretty much in 2018, so most of the tracks are old, but well, yeah, it is what it is.
How do you feel the tracks hold up? Obviously, I can't talk enough about how much my music taste has changed in those 2 years. Do you feel like your sound has evolved so much since those initial tracks, or do you think that this EP is still quintessential, super proud Planet Vegeta listening, do you feel?
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like the tracks that we make either way is just timeless. We don't really create to fit a certain mold or whatever the wave is that year or that month. So everything we create is just pretty much we create it organically, and just whatever happens in the studio happens. And then for us, I feel like it's timeless. So whether it was now or we released it 2 years ago, we still get the same buzz. But in saying that, we're pretty over it. We've heard it. Well, we've been hearing the same tracks for ages, but it is what it is.
Big time. Obviously, by the title, just to dive straight in from the top. By the title, there's a lot of terms of love with letters to Shishi, obviously, and especially with a lot of the tracks, the track titles. There's a lot about your relationship with women, not just because love, or it can be family, and obviously a lot of your songs are very family oriented, which makes a lot of sense. What do you reckon makes women in your life so inspirational to write songs about, but also so much that you dedicate an EP almost to them?
I'll leave that to JAZZ, because he's got a little chi-chi of himself as of recent.
I think just being raised by a woman too, strong woman. So we have that love. Am I speaking out of context?
Keep going, man. Keep going.
And it's do you want to play on with that?
What are we saying?
Play on what? We just love women. Who doesn't love women?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a must.
100%.
Love, yeah.
And it goes both ways. We all got strong mums. We all kind of have similar backgrounds, growing up in that. Just with I think 100%. We all our old. We don't have father figures kind of thing. So we all have strong mothers, but then
It's always been respected.
respect the women, but
Especially now, there's a whole heap going on, and
True.
I think it's so it's nice to have and love songs even, or Take Flight, where the songs are very tender and nice. Even Georgia, there's nothing or you. It's not there's no brashness about the way you talk about the girls. It's all very nice and pedestal, which is I think so important, and I think underrated as well in hip hop now.
Yeah, I feel that's always been us too. We didn't even talk about it. We've never talked about how we're gonna approach talking about women, but I think that just shows how we've been brought up by our mothers. So Shout out to our mums and you know the women in our life.
Shout out to the mamacitas.
And the mamacitas.
And the senoritas.
Yeah, that's you.
Boom. Sailor Moon, I think was my favourite song on the EP, just because it's just like, I think it just makes so much Planet Vegeta sense. I don't know why, like, and you know, discovering your music was very much like, where could they go, like what's next, what could come next with the singles, but then you listen to a song like Sailor Moon, it's like, I feel like that's the sound almost that, not to expect from, but where you just understand and appreciate, like, this is where their sort of lane is, their edges, and it's super genius. But I just want to talk about, obviously, the title, TV show Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z as well. Why do you think, like, that aesthetic makes sense with the music you make? Like, what's the overlap there? What's the Venn diagram, do you think, with that world and also, you know, Planet Vegeta?
I think just being big fans of the anime and just growing up watching Dragon Ball Z. So
Sweet.
No, it's pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much.
sometimes it's not that deep.
Yeah.
And I think the whole Vegeta thing as well, just a baller. You know? Like,
Wait a minute, bro. This guy told us not to swear, man.
Just being
Hey,
like,
this guy said no swear words on the podcast. This guy's going in.
I've had this much of a beer, man. I've turned into a different animal. I feel like definitely the whole Vegeta, like the baller, don't tell me what to do, sort of energy reigns through. Was that like a consequential like inspiration, or do you feel like you know, wear the Vegeta attitude on your sleeves?
Well, pretty much like
There's Vegeta right here.
Planet Vegeta. Planet Vegeta is like a planet in Dragon Ball. And it's the home of the Saiyans. So like for us, we feel like that's us. You know, like we kind of just tuck ourselves away in the hyperbolic chamber. You know, when time's right, we just come out, just level up. You know.
Give us a 16, go.
I like that, man.
And like, not to get too deep, but obviously I think that, and one thing I've noticed in my years covering hip hop and writing about hip hop is that, especially in Australia, is people love penning shit in to a certain genre when it doesn't make any sense at all. And like, I don't know, I think it's just super frustrating. Like, people would see a group of people that look like you and assume a certain genre of music or a type of music. Do you think it just comes naturally to like throw that away and piss that off, or do you feel like a frustration of like, why are we getting pinned into like rap when it's not even rap sometimes, or R&B when it's not even R&B sometimes? How do you like combat that, or is it just natural again?
To be honest, it's just natural. Like every time we talk, we've always talked about longevity. So for us, it's not about what's happening now or what's the wave going now. And with that, with what you're saying, how people pin us into a certain genre, it's like we've never been about that anyway. So it's just whatever we like. We always say like whatever we make in the studio, if we mess with it, then that's how we're gonna roll. So it's been like that since the jump.
Big time. I feel that.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't know. I just like having so many people on, and they're just like so frustrated by like the whole. I think R&B is like the laziest thing in the world. Like, as in coining something R&B is just like, oh, they're not white and they're not singing with guitars, unless the guitar's over an 808. So like, let's just call it R&B. And I think it's just so frustrating and lazy. For like, I get secondhand embarrassment like when you see someone be like, oh, if you like SZA, you'll like this new Sydney singer from this singer from Sydney because she's not white. And it's like,
True.
It cooks me.
True.
Facts.
Bars.
Where should we go?
I think you need to go to the bottom, my brother.
We'll get to the bottom. I think a big, something I'm super intrigued about and how you guys operate is, obviously Planet Vegeta is a group, but you've also got your own sounds, your own types, your own energies and stuff. How do you like define Planet Vegeta? Do you think it's more like a band vibe, a collective vibe, it's almost like a super group, I'd see it. But like, how do you describe it? Like when you guys come together as an energy or aura?
It's kind of weird, eh? Like, I think with anything we do, there's like no like labels, like.
Yeah.
So we like SVNO said, we just come in what we're feeling is what we're feeling. Like, even if that's music, like what we wear, what we vape, like it is what it is. Like it's like there really is no label to what we do, man.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say that we're a band, a collective.
Yeah.
We're just brothers.
Brothers for life, man.
We're just boys to brothers. Go check that.
We'll get into it. I think sort of just like before we dig into like obviously the starting narrative and we'll tell the whole story properly. You call yourselves lead, like, and I've heard it at least a couple of times on either the solo stuff or the group stuff, like a leaders of the new school sort of energy. Or where do you think that like confidence comes from? Is it like a naturally instilled thing? Is there any like insecurity about coming out in a song and just being like, I'm the best? Because I know a lot of people in their normal lives will be like super humble and super chill like you guys are. There's no fucking arrogance or brashness about you guys. But then on records, there's a certain swag or energy. Is it like easy to turn that on when you're behind a microphone? Or does he think, again?
It's for us. It's like when we make stuff, it's always 92. Like that's our brotherhood that we have with all our boys. And if we all mess with it, it is what it is. And you can hear it in the sound. Like we don't sound like no one here. Like we don't sound like no one here or NZ. You can't really put us in any group. So when we do make a track or when we're in the studio creating, it's all just like we hold ourselves at the top always. And like that's how we like when we step into the music. Obviously away from it, humble whatever. But on the mic and that's we have to hold ourselves at the top.
No, you have to.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to sometimes, where it's like, if you don't back yourself all the way, it's like, what's the point of almost doing it? I think that's such a rapper attitude.
Well, that comes within the brotherhood as well. It's like, we get props, like, we believe in ourselves that much that we don't really give a shit what anyone says. So it's like, we hold ourselves at the top already, so when we hit it, it's just like normal chat, like it's normal talk.
Exactly, yeah.
Just speaking.
It's that Vegeta.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from a place of like arrogance. It's just a place of like confidence and just being yourself and owning what you got.
Yeah.
Like that's something for me. I'm still learning, and since I've been in the crew, like something I've had to take on and just be like, let's do it. Let's
yeah. And like on Tour Poppy as well, we may as well go there because I think it's such a
banger,
obvious, like
banger,
huge. And I don't like to talk about my work on here, but probably my favorite song that I've released. We've released.
Banger.
It's not just me. Yeah. Like in the whole world, like probably one of my favorite songs. It tackles so much. I think especially in Australia, and I wonder if you guys feel this as well, where there is such a strong tall poppy syndrome energy, where I think a lot of audience are reacting like, wait, what? There are rappers from Australia that think they're mad, and like I think a lot of the audience is really wigged out by that because it's like so unnatural.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the whole tall poppy syndrome thing is a whole like such an obvious thing, and I feel like having you guys break that down, I think, is super important.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
You know what? I'm right. I take it.
No, but yeah, you're right. Like, especially their culture, tall poppy in Australia and New Zealand, it's a massive thing. But it's just about taking ownership again, as I said before. And not being shy on your shit or shy on the talents you got.
Yeah, big time. Let's take it back. Let's draw it back. Let's tell some stories, because I feel like your story hasn't been properly told yet, I don't think, on an actual platform. But like Planet Vegeta, I heard a rumor, Look Good, SVNO used to live together. Was that the initial, like, is that the first time you guys met? Was it the first time you linked, or was there a friendship there from before and then?
Nah, we knew each other ages ago.
Way before that.
Yeah, we were doing stuff outside. But I was about to throw the towel in with music, and then I knew this guy was producing, so I was like, I hit him up. I was like, hey, let's just give this music thing a crack. But he already had Planet Vegeta down in like 2015 or something like that, 2014. Like he had the name already set in place. Then we got together and it was like, fuck, Goku and Vegeta. So, and then after that, Krillin came out.
I could tell by the way you started that story.
If you listen to Sailor Moon, he throws a destructive disc even.
Nah, but for real, Jazz was working in the mines, and then.
Oh yes, I was living with SVNO because I was homeless at the time. Not homeless, but I didn't like where I was staying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your music like before that, SVNO? Like, was it, as in, what was your musical like ambitions before that? Was it like really working to get to the top, or were you just fucking around with music and then it sort of like was just?
I've always been like, I've always had a big drive, like just for my life in general. So I was always trying to push, just push something, whether it's music or when I was working 9 to 5, I wanted to always just get to the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, my music before, like I was singing with my brothers in a group called Fortunate, and we done a few things, and then kind of went, we stopped that, and then I was about to just throw it in, but I think that's why it's so easy this time around, because it was like we just came together and done it for fun, like done it to have fun, and then the rest is history now.
Big time. And look, were you a producer first before any top lines, any vocals? Was it pure just like beat making and then you sort of got dragged in, or was it always both from forever?
I think since young I've always mucked around with like music and been intrigued by music. So me and my brothers back at home in Brisbane, we used to just make beats for fun, and that's where I met SVNO, and you guys are touring,
Yeah.
I did a tour. This guy was touring way before this. So pretty much that, and then I was living out west, and me and the bros got kicked out, and I needed a place to stay, so I stayed with him, and that's when the magic happened.
Was it like an immediate, like, you sort of looked at each other and it's like, why are we not doing this together? Or was it like a bonding period, or like a evolution of, like, was it like a light bulb moment, like, why are we not doing this shit? Or was it like a sort of slowish process, or what was the...
I don't know.
It just happened. Straight out like it's...
I had it in my notes, and I brought the idea to him, and then we've been running with it ever since. Like.
And it's like I never actually heard his music live. Like I never seen him produce or nothing. So it was like, let's just do a session.
Yeah.
Right, we done a session and bumped out like 5 tracks on the spot.
Done a session, moved in.
Yeah, straight out.
You know what? You can leave here.
Well, I was buzzing out, because this guy was messaging me from the mines. He was working there, and he's just like sending me some stuff, demos and that. Just send me some rap.
From the toilet.
Wait,
legit.
He was literally
I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, he was on the toilet like rapping to the camera, and he was like, bro, check my bars, and then I was like, wow, I told look good. I was like, hey, let's get this guy in. So then he just came in for a session, and then ever since then it grew to what it is now.
Yeah, but it was kind of a stitch up, because I was in Brisbane. I flew down straight from the airport. Jazz came in, and then we were chilling for a bit. Jazz went for a smoke, and I looked at Sam and I was like, wow, you're good. He goes, I haven't even met this guy before. But I went in thinking that these guys already knew each other, and he was like, I haven't even met this guy. I was like, you got me.
And we'll get to Jazz hopping in as well, but sure, there are some funny stories from you two living together.
I forgot about that.
Whoa.
That you didn't even know.
Surely there was some epic stories, you two in that house.
None that we can say.
We'll keep it that way. So Jazz, how did you find what SVNO was doing? Where did was it just through internet, through just organic? Stuff? What happened?
Because this guy, I followed these guys, Unfortunate, and then I seen this guy go solo, and he set up like a little stew. Remember he did that track with
Vince?
Larissa. Yeah. And I just seen this guy go solo, and I heard him up for some studio time. That was the original. I was still in Sydney too. And he gave me the scene.
Really?
Yeah, he gave me the big
there
scene.
It is.
There it is.
And then I moved away. I moved to the mines. I got a job in the mines. Then I was like, fuck, I don't want to record. Like, I want to get into this music for real. And then that's when I kept messaging this guy. I was like, fuck, relentless with it, eh?
Yeah, I feel like you have to be. As in, if you're not cutthroat, or you're not doing everything you can, or
I was being mad annoying too. Like, I'd sit this guy like
Yeah.
demos on demos, just recorded raps.
But bars,
That's
every
epic.
time when I was like buzzing out, because I was like, man. 'Cause in my head, I was thinking, this guy's like the best producer I've ever heard.
Yeah.
This guy's like my favorite rapper I've ever heard. And I'm like, why not?
Exactly, yeah. It's nice how it came about so organic.
Yeah.
Like, you hear about groups that come together, it's just bullshit, like...
Oh, we ended up finding out we're cousins.
Wait, alright. We gotta unpack this.
This guy's from the same bush.
village.
Yeah, we're from the same village in Samoa. So, like, everyone, like... And then I asked my nan, I was like, hey, Nan, do you know this guy's nan? She was like, yeah, I know. I grew up... I seen them, like, they used to hang out in that.
Was it like a moment, like, where you just had a conversation and it was like, wait, I know that joint.
Yeah, I
Because
always...
you got back from side.
Yeah, I went to Samoa with my family and then... But I always ask every, like, Samoan I see, I was like, oh, what village are you from? I always just see, like, you know, because I try to understand about my culture a bit.
Yeah.
And I asked this guy and he's like, oh, I'm from Falalakai. And I was like, oh, that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Genius. And then, so did this, not this EP so much, but are the Planet Vegeta songs that we might have heard or are going to hear, like, start coming not long after those initial meetings? Like, what's the time frame? Or was there still a bit of time between your meeting and being like, sick rapper, sick vocalist, sick producer, whatever, and then, you know, you start writing in 2018, like the start of this EP? Like, how long was the transition period between, you know, you guys linking up to it being like,
I think it was like literally, I think it was like 2 months and we made the backbone of this EP now.
Wow.
So it was like 2 months that we've been together. Around that time frame, we kind of made like most of the tracks.
2 months, there's probably like 100 tracks there that we made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's heaps of shit that we haven't like even released or hasn't been out there like for previews or whatever. But yeah, the backbone of this EP got created like that's what buzzes me out. Is like we got together and everything just happened like smoothly. Like there was no egos. Like it was just.
It wasn't
easy.
even planned to be like an EP or
Yeah.
anything too. Just
Yeah.
Well, that's like the supergroup thing again as well. Like where I think it's so good having when the artists come together naturally and it just clicks, and it's almost like you're 3 individual artists working on the same thing comes across so much nicer than, oh, here's like these 2 guys that I've grown up with, or like not that you, like you haven't had that same sort of experience, but like where it's like there's something special there. Like, and I don't know, do you feel like it was easier to write with people that you'd first met before, almost, where it was like there was just nothing on the line, no ego, just like let's just make some music? Or was that brotherly connection straight away, just like what bound you together?
I think it was just making the music, like, well, for me, I was like buzzing out to make music.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Can you say that again? Sorry. I'm lost.
Yeah, nah, the connection.
I just feel like sometimes I feel like, especially, and like this is not to do with music at all, but if I meet up with someone and I connect with them straight away and I don't know them for so long, it's easier for me to just like unravel and be like just emotionally open up. And I just don't know if you reflected on that, where like if you're not that like, oh, I've wigged it anyway. You answered the question.
Yeah.
But like I know sometimes it's easier when you connect straight away with someone to like open up and then just like let them into your world, which might have happened with you guys.
Yeah, and I think as well there was like for on my end there was like no expectations.
Yeah.
So it was just
That's
like,
what I was trying to get
so
at.
it was kind of just like, hey, like let's just create music.
Yeah.
You know, for what it is. And then the opportunities just came after that. So yeah.
Planet Vegeta.
Yeah.
here we are.
What was like the first song on this EP that you're writing in that period that was like, I think we've got one, or I think this is like something special? Like what was the first sort of, you know, one of those tracks that was like, hang on, this is
Georgia,
sick,
man.
this is it?
Yeah, Georgia was the first track we made.
Yeah, probably like Georgia, I reckon. Because it was like, oh, for me anyway, it was like, I was in music, but I didn't know much about music, if that makes sense. It's like, I kind of had, like, I've learned heaps off these guys. So for me, when I went in, it's like, and heard Georgia, I never heard like music like that.
Yeah.
And then how we kind of approached that, like that kind of sound, for me, it was like opening up a new door. So
Yeah.
when that song hit, it was like, everything just started like just rolling.
And this is almost a question for all 3 of you, individually. But what do you think being in the room with the other two motivated like you guys to do better? So like Jazz, what did SVNO and Look Good motivate you to do better when you met them, and what influence did they have on your writing style?
Heaps,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Kill was just like the lead horse, always like making sure we're on our shit.
Yeah.
It sounds corny, but it is.
No, you need structure out there sometimes.
And yeah, just making sure I'm onto it. But Eddie's like the first
Look Good.
Look Good song.
Yeah.
Exposed.
They're gonna find my LinkedIn now. They're looking up on LinkedIn.
Look Good was
You're
like.
gonna try to get you a suit job. Yeah.
Shit, sorry.
No, it's true.
There goes my resume, boys.
Was the first time like working with a proper producer.
Yeah.
So like the Georgia song, that was my first time trying to change up my like shit. So I wrote the rap originally, but I had it.
He used to go by the name Lockie, Lati.
I was a bit like heavy on how I like, you know, did my verse, and Eddie kind of like told me, "Oh, tone it down. This is how you know, don't give too much away." Like,
Yeah.
If I forget that, this guy used to go hard on every single joint, like
every song.
overboard hard. But fuck, let's crack up.
Yeah. Forgot about that. You're a screamer.
yeah,
Bro, it's like Denzel Curry early on. He used to just go so hard on
Yeah.
everything. It's like, bro, it's fine. Like we like you. Like it's cool. Like you don't have to scream.
Right, that's exactly how we
Yeah, 100%.
how we talked to this guy when he used to record.
And not just that, he used to write like 64.
Yeah.
Like in 64s.
Yeah, that's something else I learned too, like breaking down my lyrics or like the verses in it, because I used to just rap for
64
ages.
bars,
Yeah,
she used to write
64
like that.
bars. I learned how to like properly structure my shit.
Yeah, but I feel like if there was a Planet Vegeta EP in the future and there was a jazz solo song and it was just 64 bars, that would be epic.
Oh, don't worry,
we
it's
got
coming.
one. Trust me, we
We
got
got
one. It's a banger too.
Definitely. 7-0, what do you think these two, taught you about both yourself and also what you needed to pick up and stuff?
Oh, I think in my music journey, anyways, like, man, like I think this is where it started, like at Planet Vegeta. Because before I never wrote, like I never really wrote anything, and I never kind of had a direction with music. It was just like I just knew I wanted to do music.
Yeah.
But then with these guys, bro, it just leveled me up heaps. Like the production, then hearing Jazz's bars is like, far. I always push to step up my game, because in my head I always think like, far, I always got to catch up.
Yeah.
Because these two are like just on another level in my head. Like I always be like, fuck, they're the best. So for me, it's just like, man, I always got to bring it hard. Like, and it's coming. It just come naturally. So like, it also says like, like these two kind of just, made me a better artist.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same thing. And I think as a producer as well, like I kind of have to set the tone a bit, but like kind of give them something to feed off,
Yeah.
But apart from that, yeah, just the same. Like, I think without knowing, we all, I won't say it's competitive, but I know if I hear something, I hear a bar or something,
Yeah.
I know I'm deleting my verse and be like, oh no, I can't record right now. To be wait, that's this special, bro. He's number one. Every song we've done, he records last. But like, yeah.
Nah, because I need to hear the fire, man, so I can write
No, but it's good, though. It's
crazy.
hectic, and like even just like I know we can all go in on a song, but even just learning to strip back and like just give the song what it needs,
Yeah, 100.
I think even calling it competitive isn't a negative thing. Like, it's the competition that makes a group like yours healthy, because you can feel it on a record when like even on just like the order of the verses and stuff, like you can just tell there's like a hunger there. And I think naturally you put three boys in a room and they're gonna want to top each other.
Yeah.
Not only that, there's like I said, we can all go in. Like there's some fire verses that we've done that are out on the song, because it just, you got to do what's right for the song,
And sometimes you just gotta let it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I held back on everything.
Yeah. Out of respect.
Out of respect, I held back.
Nah, but honestly, but this guy can go bar for bar.
No, please.
Right.
And like, obviously, you guys are all individual artists. Are there any like politics on recording, or like Jazz has or like as hypothetical, Jazz has a solo song that's so hard, but like you want to let Jazz have the solo song, but also like a Look Good verse would, you know, you're just like, you would be like, oh yeah, I really just want to hop on this, but it's like Jazz is like, nah, it's a solo song. Are there any like politics or secret competition in that like sort of area, or like has there been a moment where there's been a sort of solo song and it's like, shit, that's hard?
Nah, because I think like it's like we're all individually got our own little taste, you know, got our own little flavour. So if it's a jazz song and you know it's a jazz song, then you just leave it as a jazz song.
Yeah.
Like, same as Look Good. Like if you know, like with Star 69 or Tall Poppy, like you can tell like that's just them.
Yeah.
And then like my style of music is the same thing. Like, you know, so we all have our individual. But there are sometimes we're like, nah, this guy's made heaps of tracks where we're like, nah, let us jump on it.
This one's for us, yeah.
Straight out.
Perfect. We're back from a little break. You know, there's 4 very large men, in the best way possible, sitting in this corner. So I just thought, you know, a bit of breather might make the conversation run a bit better. Obviously, you guys rep Western Sydney on your sleeves, and it's beautiful. I grew up not far from there, and like I've said this on the podcast before, but I'll say it again. There was a period of time when I was growing up where Australian music wasn't for me. Like you'd look at the artists and be like, how is this second generation Greek immigrant gonna get into surf rock, living in like Canterbury Bankstown? Like there's no attachment to me now then. But then I feel like now what Western Sydney's doing and like the spotlight on it is a super positive thing to like encourage, you know, more unique voices to come into Australian music. Yeah. But I just want to get your opinion a bit more, you know.
I think I want to clear that up, to be honest. That's a bit of a funny narrative because I'm from Western Sydney, but we all come from different places.
Yeah.
Like he was born and bred in Porirua in New Zealand. Is that right? New
Zealand, Wellington, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's from Logan in Brisbane.
Yeah,
from the woods.
Yeah, is it Logan or?
Yeah, Logan.
Yeah, so, but obviously, like, you know, when we all come together, we rep it because you know that's the hood.
To be honest with me, when I first moved here, it was out in Mountie too, so. Yeah. And it's all the same. Like where we're all from is literally the same place.
Yeah, that's why it's, you know, it's easy to go with that. But yeah. Go back to your question.
Anyway,
so are you the host of this or nah? I was just wondering, like, why do you think that, like, not even just Western Sydney as a location, but like culturally these diverse voices, like, why do you think it's so right now so like attractive for like people to be from that culture or part of that culture, or what do you think about it is so, you know, infectious for like just the average listener who's just big up?
But it's funny, because like music's been going around like this for ages. I feel like growing up, like the boys were rapping like that since school. Yeah. Like people making musicalities like now, like since way back, but now they're getting the respect. So in saying that, I feel it's a good thing for me.
Yeah, definitely.
That I can see, like, you know, whether it's Western Sydney, whether it's out in Brizzy, like. I'm happy that the scene is the way it is now, especially with like a big thing is like Polynesians, like poly artists are getting like crazy, you know. So that's cool.
Big time. Why do you think that it's now? Like, if people have been doing it for so long, why do you think, you know, it's become actually respected and accredited now compared to, you know, ages ago? Well, not ages ago, but since before. Like, it's only been the last 2 years, I reckon.
It's because John Farnham retired.
Yeah, fair. I respect that. Simple.
That's it. The goat left. Someone's got to take over.
And we brought up the Polynesian community. And I think one thing, being Greek as well, that I reflect, it's so family oriented, and I feel like the way you guys interact with your fans and stuff like that, it's so just like, it's almost like you're building a family like around the music, but like, because, you know, Polynesian people are so ultra supportive of like other Polynesian movements, which is the most beautiful positive thing, I think. Do you think that's a big part of like just how you cultivated a fan base, or do you think that just happened naturally as well?
It's kind of weird, To be
It's a
honest,
tough question, I must say.
the poly community is like, it's kind of a grey area. Like there is the tall poppy syndrome in that community is heavy, like crazy. But at the same time, they're supportive. Like it's kind of a weird.
I think a
Weird
lot of it is
situation.
like they support it because it's like, I mean, a lot of the times as well, it's not like they support it. They just watch it because they want to see like whether it's beef or
Yeah.
they just want to see like what you're doing. Because especially with that tall poppy shit, it's like, right, they kind of like see where you're at and they see themselves being like, you know what, I could be there, but I'm not doing that. So they just like kind of bring you down a bit. But either way, bro, like, you know, people
And
are
it's
still
cause
tuning
yeah,
in.
it's cause like the stereotype of like, I wouldn't say like the generations before us, like doing music and what, especially the platform that we're on, like it wasn't in the cards for us growing up. Like when you say a Polynesian person, you would think footy or a barber or a seki. Not that it's a bad thing, but like anyone that does anything outside of it, like a doctor or music, like it's kind of like not frowned upon, but like, oh, he's like, he thinks he's mad because he's doing
Yeah,
this kind
exactly.
of thing, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's been like since the jump. Is like us or whoever's been doing it like in our communities, like they've been pushing it for so long, and now they've just like accepted, like, you know, all the old school dudes have accepted it to be like, oh, this is the new way that it's going. So you know,
100.
we've got to just jump on.
Yeah, I feel like, especially in like the Greek community, I feel like it's such a generational thing.
Yeah.
Like my grandparents are like, bro, we fled the Greek Civil War after World War II. For you not like, and then they'll be like, oh, like you're finishing uni. I want you to be the first person in the family to finish uni or whatever, stuff like that. So there's all that external pressure, but at the same time, it's like, I want to use this privilege living in Sydney to like do some cool shit as well at the same time.
100%.
So like, yeah, it's definitely like a generational
yeah.
conflict, I think, for my community anyway.
Oh,
Yeah,
pretty much
similar-
the same.
similar, yeah.
Pretty much the same.
I reckon Greek people and Polynesian people always get along.
Oh, right. Big
Word,
feet.
Greek food, Polynesian
Yeah.
people.
Eating, yeah.
Wow. Right. Yeah, it's real family orientated, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I used to work in a call center, and like it was like weird 'cause there's so many different people and shit.
What did you used to say?
Wait
when you
a
answered?
minute.
what was your line when you picked up the
Bro,
phone?
so no, we used to call for charities. I hope I don't
Oh.
get sued for this shit or something. We used to call charities. So like I'd be like SES, this call center in Surrey Hills, and like you just call people and ask them for money.
Hey,
to
this is
donate to
Parry.
charity. Bro,
This is
literally.
Parry talks here.
Yeah, bro, it was Parry Talks, yeah. No, it was, yeah. And then that's what funded all this, but yeah. And then, so, went there, it was my own lone wolf, and then another, like a Polynesian dude was like, you're Greek, eh? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I reckon we get along. And I'm like, from then, I'm like, okay, you know, it's sweet.
Yeah, that's crap though.
I think another, and like we spoke about food, so we're going there now.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, you know, we like to wrap up these episodes with a bit of fun chat. And fried chicken and flips. Fried chicken, come on. What is, in Sydney, or even from, you know, your upbringing and growing up, where is the fried chicken joint? Like, where is there one that just stands out? Because I know I have one that stands out. But what's the one that stands out?
Hurstville Bakery.
Yeah, what's it called? Hot bread. Hot bread in Hurstville.
Trust.
Yeah,
Right.
it's best.
The best seasoning, like straight up. You
Yeah.
look at the chicken, you think they're like 5 years
Trust.
old, but when you eat it, but
We ordered 100 at one time.
Yeah.
Trays.
100 what?
Chicken wings.
chicken wings.
I reckon between 3 you could do 100 chicken wings. It's simple.
Oh, easy. But that's a regular, like that's the every time.
We're
we
not
eat
doing a
it.
competition here.
But
That's what we eat.
thoughts on KFC?
Yeah,
Wicked wings all
The
day.
wicked wings,
Okay, thank you.
100%, bro. That's all.
But
day.
Hurstville hot bread.
That's for hot bread.
Yeah, still take it over.
Ever
KFC.
been to Clem's in Newtown?
Nah.
That's a spot. That's a good spot as well. It's a genius.
That's us, yeah, 100.
We should go there today.
Say less.
No.
Parry's shout.
I'm very happy. But last sort of serious question, and like this is a bit of a stitch up question. It's like how does different artists measure success differently, and I ask everyone this. But how do you think Planet Vegeta measures success? Not so much in like streams or stadiums, but like what sort of impact, what sort of like, you know, final sentence do you think you'd hope Planet Vegeta, you know, has on, you know, Australian music or just generally for yourselves?
I think I said it before. Is like for us, the way we measure our success is like our boys and our family. It's like if they mess with our stuff and they're like, you know, they can have a good time, or you know, we can impact in their lives through our music, just our close circle and that. We're happy like that, and we've always been like that too. That's why like every time we make a track or something, we'll get the boys in and we'll just vibe out to the music, and like, you know, that I think I can speak for all of us. Like us seeing all of the boys in that vibe out like that, but that's more than enough for us. But then at the same time, fuck, we need to get some money. Give us that money.
Fair play. Soon.
Yeah, Rhodes. Can we get? Bro, we're showing 2 marks.
Yeah.
So some
Roads, we need a little, you know,
little care
plug
package.
Little care package.
You guys should have your own podcast on Parry Talks.
Say less.
Wait, like I'm not even here. You guys just come in, you talk together. I'll get another mic, I promise.
Yeah.
And just shoot the shit.
Yeah, 100%. Right, the stories out of that one. Yeah, for sure.
And last question, ask this to everyone as well. Who should come on Parry Talks? Who do you reckon will tell a good story? Who deserves their story to be told? Someone a bit slept on maybe, or someone huge, whatever. Who do you reckon?
Fucking Spaniard.
Oh, bro. I've been literally
He's the
trying.
funniest guy.
Bro,
He's a legend.
Doesn't the bloke just live down the road?
Yeah, he does.
True.
He
Get him on.
I'm actually going to a house viewing after this over there.
Once I was here just doing work one morning, and he filmed a video at the back of the pub. Like you can see the graph on the back of the pub, and I'm like, oh my god, he was right there, bro. And I'm sitting here.
Right, he's the man.
Hectic. I saw him in Broadway once.
Fuck, he's crack up, bro.
I saw him in Broadway. I was like from 30 meters away. I'm like, Spaniard lad, and he goes, like, he just like he's so friendly and so nice, like his fans. Like you see it all the time. Like people just sending videos of like, genius.
Yeah, cracker.
Parry Talks, Planet Vegeta. Thanks for coming on, boy.
Thanks for having us, bro.
Thanks, man.
Anytime, literally. Come
Let's
back on.
Legend.
Oh. Get me out of that hole, bro.
Get me out of that hole and give me the clothes.